Grand Rising. Shout out to YouTube. Shout out to my followers. This video is me discussing me getting my CDL endorsements. The ones I'm studying to get or I have obtained recently is I recently got my tanker. I took the test and got my tanker endorsement. And I'm back studying to get my hazmat. I thought I had my hazmat endorsement because I paid for this app. I paid for the course off an app called the Safer app, right? And I went through the training. They had like 30 modules, and I completed those modules and took the test as you go along. But at the end of the day, I discovered that they weren't, that wasn't sufficient for my state's DMV. And so I took both tests at the DMV after finding out that my hazmat that I paid for wasn't accepted. So I'm back to square one with getting my hazmat, which I'm studying from the book, the Alabama Department of Motor Vehicles book, to get my hazmat, along with doing tests, pre-tests, which is exciting. You know, this is a journey. If you desire to be in the transportation industry, Class A, CDL, it's a good thing to have your endorsements. I've always heard that. When I first got my CDLs, I don't know. Well, my whole thing was when I was getting my CDLs to get my Class A's, and you know, the sky was the limit. And I felt like me running my own business, or creating my own business at the time, that I, you know, other than a TWIC card, I wasn't gonna need a tanker or hazmat endorsement, things like that. But you never know what you're gonna need in this industry. And the best thing for a person to do is to be ready, so you don't have to get ready. So be ready for anything, so you don't have to get ready, meaning obtain your TWIC card, obtain your hazmat, obtain your tanker endorsement, obtain your triples and doubles, you know, because you never know. So as I progress with studying and obtaining my different endorsements and certifications, I see why, you know, the OGs or the more experienced drivers in the industry, you know, always spoke about those things, that a person should get those things. Even my brother was telling me, my brother don't even drive trucks no more. He drove trucks less than a year, years ago, but he still has all his endorsements. And he had everything. He had tankers, triples and doubles, hazmat, and I believe he had a TWIC. I don't think he even needed the TWIC because he's a veteran, and he maintained that stat. Didn't need it. But those of us out here, even I'm a veteran too, but you know, due to certain reasons, I need a TWIC. I need other ways to get access. Even though I'm an honorable discharge veteran, you know, I'm a veteran with a felony, with a background. So, but with that said, we'll talk about more of that later, because it's all about this journey, you know, after a bid, out hustling who, and the out hustling who is myself, my old self, and making sure my new self, this person, this present me, is, you know, moving in a direction that elevates my life financially, physically, spiritually, morally, just as, the energy I put into that old way of life, I'm putting even more energy into my new way of life. So I'm studying. I got this, workbook here that I'm studying. I'm taking notes. And I got my laptop where I'm doing some videos, looking at videos about different training, but you gotta consider placing these different endorsements on your license, because if you don't, you're gonna miss an opportunity, and missed opportunities are no opportunities. You don't want to miss those opportunities as they become available. So that's what I'm working on right now. And I encourage those individuals who may not have that, you might want to really consider getting that. Especially if you're going to be in this industry and either driving for yourself or driving for a company. You never know when you might need a quick gig, might want to work for a year or whatever, or you're going to need it for your own particular company where you might get a contract to drive certain loads that those loads pay more than the average loads, regular loads. So we want to be prepared. So I'm preparing myself. A little bit of background about me. I did, like a lot of people, I got a pass, you know what I mean? But upon getting out of federal prison, I did 21 years. I got out in 2018 after doing a 21-year bid off a drug case. And I had little entry jobs coming back home, worked at Home Depot, worked with a partner of mine, Italian buddy of mine. He had a nice little business, construction and electrical. He used to do remodels in very affluent neighborhoods and condominiums. Shout out to Zach and shout out to Chris. Trying to think of his partner. Both good dudes, man. But I appreciate Chris giving me the opportunity when I got out. Genesis Alliance Group, shout out to them. I pray everything's going well with him still. And my partner Keith put me in contact with that brother. Shout out to KC. And then I worked at Home Depot, worked my way around at Home Depot, which was a great experience, man, because I love building and I love the fact that I was in a big one of the highest grossing stores in South Florida, and just meeting the contractors, just re-immersing myself back into society by being around that type of environment and, working with people and things like that, which Home Depot in that type of environment, work environment, it allows you to work with, the public in a great large sense. You helping out. So I went from that to going to trucking school and starting my company, Total Package Transport, which I'm upgrading. We back in upgrade motion. All right, get things back rolling. Soon be the will of Allah, soon. But I've been, studying different things, man. But back to the topic. The topic is a person getting there, a day in the life of being in this transportation industry, man. Grinding your way back to something, to a solid foundation after, a setback. And like I said, I had a 21-year setback, which was it was a setback in a lot of people's eyes, but it catapulted me in more ways than a person can imagine, mentally and spiritually and morally. So with that said, you know, some things are just priceless, man. You don't want to go through that type of, nobody wants to, or, you put yourself in a situation. And so I don't play the blame game, I blame myself. But at the end of the day, what I learned and what I learn every day is about learning, more about yourself and about life. You know what I mean? So being in the transportation industry has had its ups and downs. But like I say, one of the biggest things you could do is be prepared. So you can limit those downs. You can have more ups. As long as you got your health and your right mind, you'll concentrate more on the ups than, having to go back and take care of something you could have took care of a long time ago. And I got my license back in 2020. January 2020. It's coming up on 5 years that I've been a licensed Class A driver. And I was under the gun, wanting to get out of like one work environment, work situation, a financial situation to real money. You know what I mean? And initially it went down like that. I was getting to some real money when I got my CDLs and started my company and was doing my hotshot business. But COVID, and things happen for a reason. And I went from there doing my hotshot business to, I got into ready-mix concrete. And that was an awesome experience as well, because it got me back around, real estate, construction, development, things like that, which that's my passion. Being around stuff like that, being involved with stuff like that. I got shout out to my partners, Dre, shout out to Ben Adams, shout out to my brother James, shout out to B Harris, and those guys that's into real estate. But it's all about, I got into the trucking so that I can get myself established to continue to elevate myself, or to grow financially, and to get into the industries that I saw myself doing as our age progressed. As I got more up in age, instead of going out, I'm driving up and down the road, I'm going to one of my sites, and I'm still doing that to this day with my brother, working alongside my brother with things that he has going on. But the hustle is about me. The grind is about me. Where am I dotting my I's and crossing my T's? Am I fulfilling or meeting the goals that I set out for myself? So that's why I'm back at this point in time, getting my hazmat, getting my tanker, getting my twig, so that the other opportunities. But I'm gonna tell you something, we have to be real careful in this trucking industry, man. I've been with several different companies. I did flatbed, dry van, I hauled sand frack to oil fields out in Texas. You got to protect your license, man. You got to watch out for those points. You got to make sure that the equipment is good. You got to, we can't be overweight, because, man, people they'll dress your license up so bad, man, with points on your CDLs, that it would make you, you look like a liability to a company. Like right now, in order for me not to look like a liability, because I've been with several companies, I've been in several situations, the best thing for me to do is to obtain my tanker, my hazmat and my twit so that I can be a more qualified or desirable candidate for a company position. Why am I doing that? Because a paycheck allows you to pay bills and allows you to have a leverage in order to get to the next step, the next phase, like back to my own business, my own truck, doing my own thing. But you got to start somewhere, and it's a great place to start. So that's what I'm working on achieving and obtaining. So like I said, I downloaded a app, and I thought that I was under the impression after I paid for it, the way it's advertised and stating Safer Training. And, you know, Safer is a company that the FMCSA uses. It's used by companies to get your to find out about you as a driver, whether or not you got points on your license, things like that. So I was under the impression by me, and somebody mentioned this company to me. That's why I initially got it, the app to me rather, to get my tanker and hazmat, or to get my hazmat initially, right? But when I went down to, as I thought, once I completed that course online, and I paid, this is something that I paid for, and once I completed it and took the test, everything completed, they give you a little certificate, well, they give you a little certificate rather. I'm thinking that, hey, I'm under the impression I'm certified. I got my hazmat. Only thing I gotta do now is get my tanker. So I started studying for my tanker. My little brother, my younger brother, Courtney, told me about this, that, you know, after I told him I got my hazmat, he said he was gonna go, he said, I'm gonna get my tanker. I said, all right, bet. I said, that's the next thing I'm gonna do. Hit me back later after he went down to his DMV and passed. All right, bro, I got my tanker. I was like, wow, I got to go. That's motivation. I got to get on this so I can go get my tanker. So I have both of them now, thinking that I already got the hazmat. So I do that. Go down to the DMV, pull out the app with the certificate on it. Lady said, no, that's not, you would have to take the test. Now, granted, I did this a couple weeks back, but the lady was like, nah, that's not what that means. That's like the entry level. That's not you don't have that's not something, that's not in the database for, she said that's in the database, but it's not in as you got a hazmat. It's just, you got entry level training or whatever, but you got to take our test and get fingerprinted. You know, you got to go down to ID print, whatever, and get the background done. So background, I didn't know you had to do that for the hazmat. She said, yeah. So that's something that wasn't told. So that's another thing that guys need to know. Or to get your hazmat, you got to go pay for a background, or go get your twit, which that's included in the twit registration. That's a background so that you can get on to ports and seaside port areas over here like Panama City, Jacksonville, Miami, all these different areas that has ports. Those type of loads, often pay more money when you're delivering to those areas. So that's why it's recommended. And then you don't have to pay for escort. I was delivering in Panama City a lot, and every time you go to the company that I was driving for, they have to send in the money to pay for an escort. So anybody that don't have a twit card, they paying the company or yourself. You got to pay like $75, $70 for an escort to take you to the unloading area or loading area, depending on what you're there for. So that twit card is very valuable. So that's something that that's my next thing. My hazmat, I got my tanker, studying to get my hazmat, get my twit card. these are things that makes a CDL driver more valuable, and it creates more opportunity, financial opportunities for you and your family. So consider these things. Make sure you, excuse me about the and I took Toastmasters. Consider these different endorsements on your license. Consider getting these endorsements so that you have more opportunities and be more like the brother. I was watching the brother the other day. Make yourself more valuable as a commercial driver in this industry. I thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel. I'm up and coming, getting at it. Out hustle who, total package transport. This is what we do. Big C on TikTok. Follow me. I am C.E. Mitchell on Instagram. And I'll talk to you guys later. Stay safe out there. Keep them wheels turning. Peace and love.